I'm Peggy Muriner, the Senior Applied Coaching Content Consultant at Cloverleaf, which means I'm the personality science expert and also making sure that that science is changing your life and your work. Here at Cloverleaf, we are on a mission to unleash people to do their best work, and we believe that everyone has value. We have curiosity, and that is how we grow. And we believe that your work, real and meaningful work, can add delight and make you more of who you were made to be, not drain you of it as the day goes on. And there's this question I hear in the marketplace, and it's also keeps on coming up as organizations scale. How do we go with it, but protect the soul of our culture? And it's a question that our guest has spent his career answering. First inside of two of hospitality's fast-growing brands, but also now in his own consultancy. So along the way, he has discovered something a lot of L&D leaders are quietly, I think maybe not so quietly now, wrestling with, which is how do we use AI with imagination and intent as opposed to wrestling with it and feeling like it could be a threat to the culture. So used well, might it even be a guardian that is powerful in curating that which we cherish so much in our culture. And what I love about today's story and what we're going to be talking through is it's not just about a tool. This is also a mindset shift of not thinking only what is AI going to get off of my task list, but also this generative question of what can we create together? And that is curiosity for growth in action. It is like a reinvention. So I think that kind of work can be an encouragement and a call to arms as to what brought us to this line of work in the first place. Before I get too far into introducing Jim, I do want to say he is coming fresh to us from a month in Asia, which I think is so fun. I love that. And now for introductions. After 38 years in training and culture in two of these fast-growing hospitality brands of California Pizza Kitchen and Mendocino Farms, Jim has founded Jim Rich Hospitality, a consultancy practicing helping hospitality brands scale the culture without losing their soul. A decade on and off of Broadway taught him how that when you open those doors, your team is on, and it's been the through line of everything he's done. When he's not working, you'll find him searching the perfect beach or diving into culinary adventures around the globe, which makes me just want to go into your Enneagram because I want to know if you're an Enneagram 7. That sounds very much like something a 7 would say. But without further ado, we can touch that if we have time at the end of our webinar. I would love to hand things off to you, Jim Rich. Thank you so much for being here.
That introduction actually really captured the essence of my 3-year journey with AI. I am coming to you from Venice Beach, and I think I'll just get started. I'm a little technologically challenged, which you would think after 38 years I wouldn't be anymore, but my AI journey has only been 3 years long, and let me see if I can get to the presentation and get the sound going, and I'm just going to be off to the races. So let me share my screen and let me dive in. What the heck was that? Well, those are the superheroes, as in the name of the session. The superhero is definitely not me, that's for sure. but more about the superheroes later. Now, about the zero part of the title, I was clearly a zero when it came to AI just 3 years ago. When I say zero, I mean I knew nothing about AI. But the zero wasn't just about my lack of technical knowledge. It was about all the questions I hadn't even thought to ask yet. It was about my imagination. It was about my creativity. So let me flash back. I'm at a CHART conference in Orlando, Florida, almost 3 years ago. CHART is the Council of Hotel and Restaurant Trainers. And there, I attended my first ever AI breakout session. The session leader asks the room, who's not using AI at work? And my hand shoots up so fast, I swear, I was so proud. I'm not sure what I was so proud about, actually. Maybe it was some dumb thought like, who needs AI when I've got me? But the truth was, I had a long way to go, and I was totally ready to jump in. Sort of. So I quickly dove in with a 6-hour virtual AI course, lots of exposure, exploration, curiosity, skepticism, humility, and experimentation with lots of different tools. I struggled, I whined, it was totally daunting, but I was also immediately engaged and felt like I was on the verge of a major work-life shift, and I was. My early wins seem almost quaint in retrospect. Things like exceptional Spanish translations, turning workbooks into microlearnings, modernizing tired legacy materials, and updating resumes and profiles. But make no mistake, at the time, they felt positively transformational, and they still do. Suddenly, I had a little bit of momentum. I was gaining confidence, and, spoiler alert, they led to some of the bigger places I'm about to get into. One of those bigger plays was taking my work visual, because the better my content got, the more I wanted it to look as good as it sounded. I pounded dozens of Canva tutorials. I asked design GPTs for critique on my decks. I wanted the feedback they had to offer, stuff like, your layout's too busy, your hierarchy's off, you have too many visual anchors. Their comments were kind of savage, and I kind of liked it. But this wasn't just about making things pretty. It was about feedback, coaching, and iteration on demand. People started saying, Jim, I like your slides. Not because they were perfect, but because they felt personal. They felt original. I wasn't designing to impress, I designed to express. And that's when things got even more fun. I experimented with AI images and tools to create visuals that serve the Mendocino Farms brand, like these fun images of the Mendo mascot, Mendo the cow, here in Times Square on New Year's Eve, and with his kids for Thanksgiving at Plymouth Rock. And my favorite was this jaw-dropping image of Mendo the cow showing that a change to a pivotal training program was evolution, not revolution. So yeah, I was having fun, but it was also work-focused. That was some of the early work, not perfect, not bad. And it was totally a team effort. It was me, Claude, ChatGPT, Canva, and my custom design critics. And now, and this is where I would cue a subtle drum roll, because this is the moment when it all started to click, when I realized that AI wasn't just a tool anymore, it was a partner, and we could do more together. Maybe this all sounds a little melodramatic, but for me, a department of 2, this was a total game changer. Suddenly I wasn't asking, can AI do this task for me? Instead, I was asking, what can we create together? And the answer was more and better. Everything I do, from design, storytelling, ideating, creation, refining materials, gets better when my prompting gets better. Like a lot of people, early on, I thought prompting was the grunt work, the thing you had to do just to get to the good stuff. Now I see it completely differently. Now I believe that prompting isn't a pre-step, it's the step. And the reason I call it the step because prompting is the molten core of great output, the hot center of it all. So dramatic. There are tons of prompting tools, guides, and resources out there. And the first thing I learned about prompting in my online AI intro course was garbage in, garbage out, and that is so true. Prompting tools are typically not fun or sexy, so in wanting to share how I get to my best stuff, I tried to translate prompting guidelines into very L&D friendly, relatable terms. Some of you are probably already deep into prompting and experts already. Some of you might still be raising your hand like I was 3 years ago. Hopefully this is for both of you. And what I've come to learn, a great prompt fueled by imagination is where the real fire lives. Not one, not the other, both. So go ahead and grab that Prompt Better Get Fire sheet that we sent you all. And if you don't have the handout in front of you, don't worry. I'm going to be covering most of it, some of it super quickly. And a word about some of my text-heavy slides you're about to see. These are not designed to be read. It's really a proof of work. So listen, or if you have a really big monitor, go ahead and you try to read. Okay, the front page has core prompts you probably already use, or what I like to call the recipe staples. These are the essential ingredients you need in your pantry when you're building a tasty recipe. They include, who do you want the AI to be? Give an identity. For example, you're a training materials designer. That's one I use a lot. What do you want? Like, I need a blog on this topic. Why does it even matter? Well, we want to convey an urgency to the team and make this adjustment to this standard. How should it feel? Well, it should be casual but professional and easy for an 18 to 30-year-old to grasp quickly. In or out? What do we want to avoid? What do we absolutely want to nail? For example, let's aim for a half page, no jargon, avoid cliches. In my tool, I've given these even simpler language, who, what, why, how, in or out. And if you're looking to get solid output, and who isn't, these are your staples. But instead of spending any time on the pantry staples, let's flip over the sheet and crack open the good stuff. The next level prompting moves. I'm being totally honest when I say that these 4 moves changed everything for me. They help me deliver custom, nuanced content that honestly makes me think, wait, I did this? And when I partner, yes, partner with AI, the result sounds like me. It sounds like my company. Prompting like this, for me, it's creative fuel. It's how I get to the fire, not someday, not tomorrow, but now and every day. So let's dive into these 4 prompts. First, clarifying questions. This is my go-to prompt for almost all the work I do on AI because quite simply, I get to better output much faster. And if you take away one new prompting technique today that truly kicks butt, this is it. Without it, the AI is often just guessing what you need. And as you know, generic output, total waste of time. Asking the AI to interview me, asking one question at a time, is a genuine unlock. It's not complicated, but I bet many of you have never even tried it. And once you do, you won't go back. Why? Because the AI learns from each one of your answers, and it digs deeper and triggers more creative thinking from me, and then delivers more targeted output faster. Let me show you how this played out in a couple projects. Working with Claude primarily, I took a very old train-the-trainer course and I set out to update and modernize it. After assigning the AI to be a training specialist, I explained my task, then asked 3 to 5 questions, one at a time. It was a genuine back and forth, like a real conversation, like I had a partner in the room, and we got to the fire faster. For this project, I worked with Claude, ChatGPT, and Gemini. Why 3? Well, as you probably know, sometimes AI is just too complimentary, too nice, so I ask it to be brutally honest and not to blow smoke. And a second or third opinion is a reality check that makes me feel more confident and dialed in the work. So I'll take the output from the first model that I'm using and I'll just validate it and see if I get similar responses on the others. My second example isn't a project. It was simply about getting ready for an important meeting with an important ops executive. I wanted some back and forth on building a set of notes for the meeting that I could have in front of me. On the left in yellow, I provided the general info about the task, the goals, and my ideas. There was more than what you see on the screen. After prompting for clarifying questions, I got these questions in the middle column, which got me thinking on a much different, much more thorough level. And the output on the right gave me a clean outline or structure for the meeting. It wasn't complete yet, but I was in a much better place. So I just added, edited, and gave it some gym flavor, and I was good to go. This simple thought process is a great accelerator. AI's initial output is never the end for me. It's really just the starting point, but I'm way ahead of the game. All right, the next technique is audience mirror. I am always wondering, how is my work going to land? So in addition to the questions on the screen that you see, I might ask, will the team members find this cringe? If you were the GM, how would it land? I put together something I think the CEO might find valuable. How would you respond if you were him? I'm presenting to a group of mature L&D professionals. Will this content even connect? This technique for me is immediately helpful and very often surfaces elements or angles I just wouldn't immediately consider. It gives me perspective and insight I might not think I need, but really I do. On this slide, I wanted to know if an early outline for a GM conference would connect to the audience in regards to the agenda, the breakouts, the relevance, and what they might feel good about. And the detailed output here gave me thoughtful pros and concerns that helped me continue to shape the session. And no matter how good I think the content might be, if the audience isn't aligned with the content, it's just noise, that's a problem. So speak their language. Next up, prompt the prompt. I have a limited brain power, especially when it comes to some of the details that can make or break AI's image output. I'll give it my best shot, but then I'll ask, please help me fill in some of the holes in my prompt. Make it more detailed so I can get to a better image. But before you generate anything, run your new prompt by me and let's talk about it. Let's face it, who knows how to prompt better than AI? So ask the AI for help. Let the AI do its thing. In this example, I wanted an image that focused on watermelon to celebrate a new watermelon poke salad that we were offering, and I thought I could employ Mendo the cow for a teaching moment to use in one of our role-play scenario documents. So I asked for Mendo in the field, teaching his little ones about watermelon. Then I asked for prompt assistance and got questions from the AI. Then I got an enhanced prompt. And then I got this beautiful image on the very first try, which I then used as an illustration in a wordy training tool. What might sound silly and maybe cheeky on its own works well when used to bring a dry document to life. But here's the use of this technique that I don't think anybody talks about: letting AI teach you how to prompt better. If you find that your output is too generic and not what you have in mind, share your exact concern with the AI and ask for help. Something like, this isn't what I pictured. What am I not telling you? Help me build a better prompt to get to better output. Sometimes, as human beings, we think we need to be expert at all of this stuff, and we just can't be. So use the AI to help you get better. Before I close this prompt session with the last technique, here's an observation. A lot of people prompt like they're filling out a form. I try to prompt like a curious, creative partner. What if we tried this? Could this work? Is there any gold here? Let me run this idea by you. This is what I'm thinking. Those are not techniques. That's imagination and curiosity showing up inside my technical prompt. And in my experience, that changes everything that comes back. Okay, the brain dump. I use the brain dump when the noise in my head is bothering me, when I have too many thoughts, when I don't know where to begin, when I need someone or something to help me find a thread that I can actually build on. So I just dump it. Messy, scattered, half-baked. I get it all out. And I ask, can you help me find the gold in here? Is there anything here worthwhile? This prompt bails me out more than I care to admit. And here's what surprises me. Even when the AI doesn't get it right, which is often, it almost always stops me from spiraling. And my reaction to the AI usually triggers new ideas to get me where I need to get. Continuing on with the same example, here's some of what Claude had to say based on my brain dump. And again, don't feel obliged to try to read this. But what I love about this is that the AI connected threads I hadn't connected yet and surfaced what was actually keeping me up at night, and it gave me some structure to push back on. It was not perfect, but it was enough to help me see more clearly and get me moving forward again. So you can type out all your random neural firings, and it's perfectly fine if you have no idea what you even have, but you just need to start. Look, each one of these 4 elevated moves takes a little bit more thought, a little bit more time than a generic prompt. And I can honestly say that I have come to look at prompts as the fun part. For me, it's almost like name that tune. I can get to an awesome output in 2 prompts. You could almost say, slow down to go faster. Because when I slow down and partner well, I get results that are clearer, deeper, and way closer to what I actually want. And isn't that the whole deal right there? Before I share a cautionary tale, let me talk to you about the combo. The combo is when you naturally and comfortably use multiple techniques together without even thinking about it. Think about learning a musical instrument. First, you practice scales. Every note is conscious, deliberate. Then one day, you just play. Technique is there. It didn't disappear. It just went underground. That's when you can improvise. That's when you can have some fun. That's exactly what happened here. This slide is a real story. I was meeting with a new client just a couple of weeks ago. I had a 90-minute meeting. I recorded the whole thing on my iPhone, and I had 2 days to deliver a proposal, something worthy of what they'd shared with me, which was juicy. So between a brain dump, clarifying questions, audience mirror, I put together a proposal. I didn't choose them in sequence. I just worked. And what came out on the other side was a proposal that was personal, specific, and I say this humbly, anything but generic. And I heard back from the CEO, he said, that was the most inspiring proposal I've ever heard. You really deeply understood the issues. And the VP of HR says, I feel heard. I've never read a proposal like that before. I report those reactions with gratitude, not swagger, because what they were really responding to weren't the techniques. It was what the techniques with my creativity made possible. The CEO then told me later when I said, why did you find it inspiring? He said, your proposal sounded exactly like you. That's exactly what I want to hear. 3 techniques, 5 techniques, but the final flavor, all me. Now, you might be thinking, Jim, you're only showing us the good stuff. Surely you have some horror stories, or when AI went off the rails. Oh yes, here's a recent one that freaked me out. I just finished multiple Clifton Strengths workshops with over 100 people at Mendo, about 15 to 20 different workshops. I got amazing insights, but I had way too much data to analyze this by hand, and it's not remotely part of my skill set. So I asked the AI, can you review these grids and find patterns, coaching themes, action steps? Oh my God, it did. Fast, polished summaries, smart takeaways, trends I thought leadership would be blown away by. Then I noticed some of the names were wrong. Some of the facts seemed off. Turns out AI can't actually read Clifton Strength grids. It's a known limitation. But instead of saying, I can't do this, it just made shit up. Confidently. So at 4:30 in the morning, I had this conversation with the AI. What happened? Well, to be honest, Jim, I scanned. Oh my God, you're getting lazy on me now? Yes, Jim, that's the truth. It was like HAL in 2001: A Space Odyssey. So I went back, I reformatted the data properly, which was a semi-ordeal, and I gave the AI something it could actually digest, and I asked it to be brutally honest with me. And the result, this 43-page toolkit with regional insights for all of our GMs and directors, and something they could actually digest, and strategies that actually worked. My 3 takeaways from this joyous, hallucinogenic experience: be the thought leader. Let the AI be your thought partner. I think we make the mistake and let AI be the boss, when in fact we need to be in charge. Give the AI data it can actually digest. And if it looks too good to be true, it probably is. So trust, but verify every single time. Okay. Now it's time to talk about the superheroes, which I teased up front. And I'll start by saying this project wouldn't have even begun to happen without AI. Not even close. And it started with a very simple, fun idea. What can I gift our 13 directors of operations and our VPs for Christmas? As a Clifton Strengths coach who's run a lot of internal workshops, I'm always trying to figure out, how do I keep Clifton Strengths alive? It's kind of dry. And since Gallup calls somebody's top 5 strengths our superheroes, I had this crazy thought. Could I use AI to create custom superhero images based on each director's top strength or superpower? This could be a cool gift. Let's see if it works. So I tested this theory on myself using my top strength maximizer, using different comic or superhero styles. And this is the first thing I got, and I said, whoa. I thought I looked kind of like Tom Cruise giving a TED talk. And then I tried some other styles. And I thought, nice. I think this is going to work. To create unique and accurate superhero visuals for all 13 very distinct directors was a wild, long, fascinating, frustrating, maddening, thrilling creation time using the top strength from each director, a rallying cry that they use, and one of their sports or hobbies. The development of each superhero had its own unique progression. Here are 2 examples of the 13. This director chose restorative as her top strength. She loves rock climbing, a rallying cry, aim high and persist. But the first attempts were flat, over-sexualized, or kind of boring. Then I remembered that she also does indoor rock walls, so I totally changed the point of view. I added a climbing wall, and boom, there it was, strong, dynamic, her. The most challenging superhero of the 13 was for a director who chose responsibility as his strength, golf as his sport, and honor your commitments as his rallying cry. My first thought was, oh no, this is going to be boring. How am I going to bring responsibility and golf to life? And sure enough, I kept generating a guy checking his golf scorecard. Hey, it was my idea, and a total yawn. It was prompt after prompt after prompt. I ended up going to bed pissed off. I just wanted to sleep it off. And then I remembered at his most recent store opening in San Francisco, I saw him climb a steep hill on his Vespa. So I threw him on a bike. I strapped golf clubs to his back. I put the Golden Gate Bridge in the distance. Now I felt I was onto something. This was a little cartoony for me, so I pushed it and went noir, and I went neon. And what I felt was like the 50th iteration, this gorgeous thing emerged. This mild-mannered, soft-spoken director was suddenly the coolest superhero of the bunch with responsibility in neon. The lesson? Sometimes the biggest breakthrough comes after you step away completely. Sleep on it, swim it off, come back fresh. Well, it turns out that's not really an AI insight. That's just how good work often gets done. When the creative process was done, I created 12 by 12 mounted images of each of them. I wrapped them, and I passed them out during a meeting to John Williams' Superman theme soundtrack. No one ever accused me of subtlety. And when they opened their gifts, it was truly a moment. There were wide eyes, laughter, pride, and even a couple sniffles. But of course, I wanted more. Could I extend this gift and turn this fun thing into development? Sure. So I had them pair up, talk about how it felt to see themselves as superheroes, and how their teams see them when they show up in their stores. I'll tell you, the DOs were engaged and energized with their Clifton strengths and their leadership styles like I'd never seen before. It was a true marriage, a development, and AI disguised as fun. Here's a fascinating twist. I tried to talk to them about the project. I couldn't wait to share my process, the AI stuff. But no one cared how I made them at all. No one asked about the prompts, the iterations, or what tools I used. Nothing. I was honestly more than a little bummed. I was like, don't you want to know how I pulled this off? But then I realized that was the whole point. The tech disappeared because the AI and because the people took center stage. It was about them the whole time. That's when I knew this project had landed, because it wasn't about how it was made. It was about how the work made them feel and think about themselves and their leadership. So I created this project with AI. The project couldn't have been made without it, but it came from me, from my heart, and it was made for them. This is the kind of work with AI that lights me up. I want more work like this. Finally, I took all the images, I turned it into a collage of AI-driven superhero artwork celebrating their leadership strengths, and I called the collage The League of Extraordinary Operators, and this now hangs on the wall of the Mendocino Farms offices, which they call Base Camp. If you had told me 3 years ago I'd be presenting on Zoom about AI, I would have laughed at you. Frankly, during my 10 years on and off Broadway, my 27 years at CPK, my 11 and a half at Mendo, I've never had trouble standing up and performing. But this style of presentation, I withdrew. Maybe it was stage fright. Maybe I just felt like I didn't have it for this kind of presentation, for this kind of room. So I sat back, I listened, I learned, I participated, but I was always quietly thinking, maybe someday if I have something to say. Then I got into this relationship with AI, and it cracked something open in me. It gave me encouragement, validation, and a partnership. It helped me live in my power, not by replacing my voice, but by helping me hear it again. It reignited something in me, a new hunger, a fresh spark, and a new beginning. And I stopped thinking of AI as artificial intelligence and started thinking of it as augmented intelligence. I did not invent the phrase augmented intelligence, but man, when I heard it, it totally landed because that's what it feels like now. It does not replace what I do. It builds on it and elevates the instincts I've been building over decades. Expanding my mind is what's made my AI journey so damn invigorating. I think I'm actually hitting an entirely new stride at age 71. That's what it feels like anyway. Like I'm just warming up. And if I can do this, you absolutely can. Hopefully, our short time together fired you up even a little. And if you're not already there, maybe you're ready to conquer your world with AI as a true partner. I'm going to close with a couple of things I've discovered on my journey. One, you don't have to master the AI universe. And let's face it, we never will. You just have to master the slice of it that elevates your world. You need to find 2 or 3 tools that you vibe with, tools that can become the coworker that makes you smarter, faster, braver, the coworker that helps amplify your voice, not replace it. My partnership with AI has not just changed the way I work, it's changed how I feel about the way I work. It's made my job more fun again, more full of possibility. Jeremy Utley, a professor, author, and podcaster, is the thinker whose work most actively shapes mine these days. And he posted these 2 things recently. He said, AI isn't a tool you learn, it's a teammate you learn to work with. And he goes on to say, your imagination is your primary limitation, not your technical skill. Here's the thing that nobody is saying out loud. AI is giving everybody the same tools now, and everybody's using them. And output is getting more and more fine, competent. And we can't afford to be mediocre. The differentiator isn't the tool anymore. It isn't the technique, it's your imagination. It's your flavor. It's the things you have that nobody else has. That's the shift. That's what requires you to turn AI from a tool into a teammate. So, wherever you are in your AI journey, I challenge you to put these tools to the test and unleash your imagination. Pick a project this week and just do it. Use a pantry staple if you're new to this. Try a clarifying question if you've never tried that, or one of the other elevated prompts if you're a veteran and maybe some of those are new. And if you're ready to go beyond the techniques, ask yourself a what if or a do I dare question this week and see what happens when you slow down and partner well, because that's truly where the fire lives. Thank you for listening to me talk and talk and talk. And with that, there is another takeaway that I have for you. It's my curated AI resource guide. It's a 2-pager. If you click on or scan the QR code, you will see this tool. You'll see my prompt better tool. Feel free to use it. And that's actually my website. And with that, I'm going to turn it back over to our host to lead our remaining time that we have for comments, questions, observations, or whatever else. And I will stop my share.
Oh, Jim, thank you so much. 1, for the gifts, and then 2, for just the wisdom share that you've had. I was very struck by a couple things. I kind of want to dig into them further. One being the prompt that you used to put your proposal together, because it sounded so much like you. How much had you intentionally curated your voice inside of that chat or that tool?
That's a great question because on my curated resource guide on the back page, there's a whole section about making sure the AI is using your voice. And the technique I did was I took 10 or 15 of my favorite blogs, articles, training materials. I fed it into Claude, ChatGPT, and I said, can you describe the Jim voice? What do I sound like? And now everything I get, I didn't even prompt it anymore because it knows me so well. Everything it gives me is my voice. And every now and then it veers from my voice, and I'll say, that is starting to sound like AI. That's sounding a little too consultant-y. Make sure it's the Jim voice, and it corrects itself.
That's good. And then was that over like one session that you uploaded those documents, or did you discover that over many months that you were building into that?
Are you talking about when I gave it my voice?
Yeah.
Do you know, I probably have given it my voice on 3 or 4 different occasions. As my voice develops, I
Mhm.
let it further refine my voice and simplify it. I could give you 2 pages of Jim voice, or I could give you a short paragraph. So it's
Yeah.
kind of has it all. And I put it in my ChatGPT profile and my Claude profile and my Perplexity profile. So all of the tools have a good idea who I am, what I do, what I sound like, what my style is. So it seems very personal.
Yeah, I love that. So one of the things you didn't say along those themes, but I heard was one about being able to connect with people on a pretty visceral level with your proposal that they felt heard and they felt inspired. And then watching you do that with your superheroes as well, with all of your Mendocino leaders, that you are using the tool to increase your meaningful human connection. That it wasn't just producing collateral, you were impacting and changing people's encounters with you.
Do you know, it's interesting. Before AI was even part of my consciousness, I think that's always been part of my gift as a trainer, a new store opener, and a leader is my communication, my empathy, my awareness, which shows up in my Enneagram and my Clifton strengths. And AI has amplified it. So to be able to dig in to people's strengths using my innate abilities with AI as a tool and making it visual was a real fun challenge. And my proposal was, how do I translate what I feel, what I think is right for your company, and use AI to make sure I'm hitting it on all levels because I can't think of everything. So the conversation, I shared my concerns, my ideas, and the AI got me thinking even at a deeper level and how the CEO and VP of HR might receive this information. And it made it even richer and deeper.
Yeah. If I was in your, when you talked about nobody wanted to know how I came up with this tool, I would also be disappointed with that because I would think, don't you want to have
Correct.
this kind of impact on people? Don't you want folks to be changed as a result of an encounter with you? And so I thought, oh my gosh, I know, Jim, don't you want some other fellow journeymen that are coming along and doing that same discovery with you? Because I was like, I would be disappointed. And I also love that you gave us the tools so we can do that.
You know what's interesting? I work with a lot of talented people who are just not interested yet, even now, at exploring AI. And it's like, dude, don't you want to totally expand what you do so well already? So even though this might be old news to a lot of people on this call, or when I do present this kind of material, I find that there's so many really talented professionals who just have not explored this yet. I'm going, there's a whole world out there just waiting for you to jump in.
I did have a question because it sounds like you have been the primary user of what you have created. How do you curate something so that your whole team or all 13 of those leaders might be able to leverage what you are creating or what you are stewarding, like for Mendocino? How do you do it so it can be used across leaders?
Well, I'll be honest with you. the main leadership at Mendocino Farms wasn't that interested in developing AI skills with the company. So I became the AI champion, and I, being a department of two and being the primary creative person, I used it to get my work done. And I did one-on-one tutorials with people who showed interest. And I did this workshop at a couple L&D conferences to try to spread that word. So I tried to find interested people where I could, but you cannot force people to do something they're not really ready to do.
Yeah. I um I know. You cannot make people choose what you think is best for them.
Correct.
Like,
Never have been able to do that.
I know. And then as you are getting to do this in your own brand this time, are there different choices you're making inside of Jim Rich Hospitality that you weren't even able to do inside of previous brands?
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm working with a brand right now, and I'm in a discovery phase where I'm meeting with like 12 different people, the CEO, the VPs, the directors, the COO, and team members. And I'm not a great note taker. My handwriting is terrible. So I record all of these sessions, which allows me to be more present. But then I just kind of loaded the transcript into the tool, share my takeaways, and together we pull out the nuggets, create bullets, and it just totally accelerates, streamlines, and again, gets me to the gold a lot faster and takes a very long process and really speeds things up. So I'm using it all the time.
Yeah, I love that. I enjoy that use case as well. Well, I am going to bring us to a close today. A huge, huge thank you to Jim Rich. And if you'd like to continue the conversation, you can follow up with us on LinkedIn or find me at the Cloverleaf as well at cloverleaf.me.